Good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon. I'd like to welcome Mark back to Celtic and Shaun also today. Just going to kick off the question for broadcast, then we'll do photographs and then
How you doing?
Thank you very much. Sky Sports.
Martin, how does it feel to be back here at Celtic?
Oh, right, okay. Well, I knew about it less than 24 hours ago, so really excited, I must admit. Nervous excitement about it. Obviously wanting to try and do as well as I can. Looking forward to it, I think. I am. So it is a role at this minute, which is they're looking for a permanent manager. I think there's obviously the events of the last 24 hours are quite stunning, and at this minute I've been called in to do the job, interim manager at this minute, and that's the way it'll remain.
Could you tell us maybe how this came about in the last 24 hours and what you have been told about what's required from this management team at the moment?
Well, I didn't need to be told about what's required about management teams at this football club. But I got a call, must have been late afternoon, early evening from Dermot Desmond. And he said that Brendan had resigned. And I think people were taken aback by that. Obviously, I assumed that that nothing would have happened until the end of the season for anybody in particular. But so I was called. Would I come in and hold proceedings until they got a permanent manager? And I had 10 minutes to make up my mind, apparently, which I did.
You mentioned Dermot Desmond. There was some very strong words from him about Brendan's departure. I wonder what you make of that and how big a job you guys have of uniting everyone at this moment in time.
Well, I can't really comment on that. That's something that's outside my remit in that sense. What has happened just recently, Celtic have been so successful for a long, long time now, and each manager that steps into the job does brilliantly. Brendan has done terrifically well in both times he's been here at the football club, and as have a number of managers before. And so it's from that viewpoint, I don't know what has happened in that sense, and it's probably not for me to make a judgment here at this stage. So all I know is that I'm in here now at the minute and working with Shaun. I knew Shaun as a player, a young player here, and terrific footballer he was. However, so we'll try and work together and see what what that brings. But winning is the most important thing. As I've said often enough when I do little bits of punditry, it still applies to me now.
Just Mark, what do you think this club needs at the moment?
Well, naturally, I think there's. I think it's the easiest thing in the world to say that when a club is successful, it has everybody going in the same direction. That doesn't seem to be the case at this moment. So really, that's it. Whether I'm able to do that or not is in the lap of the gods. But I think winning football matches has always been the main contributor to fans and the club being together. So that would be it. Winning football matches.
You obviously know Dermot and you know Brendan.
Mm-hmm.
From a personal point of view, has it been sad or disappointed to see how publicly their relationship seems to have just collapsed?
Yeah, it is. I must admit that's true. It is really sad to see that. I obviously wasn't expecting it. I don't know what has been going on, because despite the fact that Dermot brought me here to the football club 25 years ago, since I left, I have not had that many conversations with him. I've never been asked back again, in younger days. So all of that there is, it is, as you say, it is quite sad to see, but, and I don't know what's taken place, so it's very little there is very little that I can add to it.
And just confirming, this is only for you on an interim basis. I know we had quotes earlier from you on a radio station, but do you feel this is just an interim period for you and you do not want this job full time?
Well, number one, yes. This is definitely an interim. You know, there could be have a new manager in 2 weeks' time. If we don't win on Wednesday evening, we might have a new manager on Thursday. So I don't know that, and that's not great news for Shaun to hear, because he was hoping I'd be around for a month. And so that's it. Yeah, absolutely. And Celtic will be looking for a young manager to come in with a very, very decent CV and to work with the team. So that's exactly right.
Can I ask you, Shaun, as well? Yeah. You've obviously, in your previous role at the club, worked very closely with Brendan.
Yeah.
Can I ask your thoughts on Brendan, on his character, on his style, and the general atmosphere in around the club before his departure?
In terms of him as a guy, in my relationship, just really positive. He gave me my first coaching job 7-8 years ago, so extremely grateful to him for that. Stayed in contact with him as I had different jobs, and being back here for the last 3 or 4 months, it picked up pretty much exactly where it was. My experience of him is a brilliant guy, brilliant coach, extremely successful here. And the feeling in the training ground was, as you'd imagine, like sometimes after results, the training ground's lower than others, but that's pretty normal in every football club. The training ground was good. Obviously, today was difficult, as you'd expect. It was a turbulent day, traumatic day really for everyone, not just at the stadium but the training ground. So, as expected, it was a tough morning.
Just finally from me, you worked with the players this morning at Lennoxtown. If they took training, is that correct?
Yeah.
What do you feel that the players need right now, and how is their mentality and resolve after what's been a bruising couple of weeks for the team and then a sucker punch last night?
Yeah, so if you take away the sort of previous 2 weeks, obviously, I was in a very different role. I think just today, as best as I could and the other staff, after speaking with Martin, it was just really try and bring them stability, a little bit of normality in terms of preparations for the game. And yeah, look, it's really difficult. The club have lost some brilliant people. That happens at football, but you know what, really quickly you have to turn that around, or try and turn that around, and try and get ready to prepare the team to win a match versus a good side. Yeah, so it's it's sort of, you have to separate both sides. Really difficult moment, and then you have to, unfortunately, you have to move on pretty quickly.
Shaun, as being the manager of Celtic on a permanent basis, is that a goal for you at some point, whether that is short term or whether that is long term?
No, not nowhere near anything short term or long term at the moment. It's I came back here in a role really with the board and then Brendan. So at this present time, no. It's I'm going to try my best to support Martin and the players. But I'm very similar to Martin. This will be interim, and then I'll go back to my role.
A question for the both of you. How do you see the dynamic working between the two of you during this interim period?
Well, if this had been, let's say, 20-odd years ago, I would have been definitely dishing out all the instructions. But since this young man has been a manager since, I'm a wee bit... I'd have to be careful what I say to him. And I think that he might be actually giving me instructions. But it's nice to see him. He keeps me young, I must admit. And, and it's nice because I took him to Aston Villa when I went to Aston Villa. And then he claimed he was homesick and came back to Celtic again. I've never really forgiven him for that. So, and this is the first time that other than your time when you were working at Belgium, first time we've really met up. So, I've got a lot to say to him now when this finishes. And it won't be positive, you know.
Martin, can I just go back to, obviously it was quite public what happened between Dermot and Brendan. Mm-hmm. Did that give you any reservations about coming back to the club and saying yes to this opportunity?
Well, no, it doesn't, because I'm not going to be... if there's such a thing as enjoying it, and I sometimes even wondered throughout my career whether I ever really, really enjoyed it, and I'm probably too miserable to enjoy it. But I now at this ripe old age, I'm going to try and enjoy it. But the only way I will do, the only way I've ever lived it, is really by trying to win football matches. So from that viewpoint, I'd no Well, I said no hesitation. I was given only 10 minutes to make my mind up, and so I had to do it in that time. So I'm fine with it. But I would have no problem. I go back to someone who actually gave me the job in the first place, way back 25 years ago, when, in all honesty, at that stage, there were a lot of big names, bigger names than myself, in for that job, and so it was a real honour to manage the football club, and so from that viewpoint, I'm fine. As I said to you, that I'm intermittently would keep in touch with Dermot, but it would never be anything like this. And as I said to you, all the times that they've changed managers, he's never asked me, So, but why would he then? Because they kept winning, So it doesn't really make any difference. So that's it. Other than giving Maloney a bit of a rollicking later on, I'm fine.
Man, what's going through your mind when you think about going out there, back in that dugout tomorrow?
Genuinely a nervous excitement about it, but I was always a bit nervous about matches anyway, and so excited by it. Obviously want to try and win the game, which is the most important thing, and if there is some sort of clapping for me, that I'm well aware in this game that lasts about 15 minutes. So at the end of the day, you have to win, and that's what we have to do. Celtic has always had that DNA, for want of better words. They have to win.
Can I just ask you? Obviously, we heard a wee bit of your thoughts on the league and Celtic yesterday on the radio, coincidentally, before you got the phone call. You feel that maybe getting a bit more physicality into the team, that was your teams were always had that. Is that something you're going to?
Well, that's true. That's first of all, I stand by everything I said yesterday. Although if I'd known I was going to get the job here, I wouldn't have said anything. But that's the nature of the game. So there I was, minding my own business in the King's Road in London, and then I get the call. So now I thought, should I have said that? Anyway. No, but I stand by it. It's really, Hearts are very strong. They're going brilliantly at this minute. They've opened up an 8-point gap, and Celtic. It's something that I've thought about for quite some considerable time. Now, there's different ways of playing the game. Obviously I inherited myself way back 25 years ago some really great players, and I think that in terms of adding to that, I think that. I think I did that, and eventually over a relatively short period of time, the team gelled and got together, and we were very strong, and I had lots of good players, and other than a couple of very young lads on the side, proper men in the team. Now Celtic, I've noticed here in the last couple of years, have not got that, but they've still been able to win. So they've been able to win in a different way, which is great. That was my viewpoint. I may end up, after 2 or 3 weeks, changing my mind completely about it, but that has been my view for some time. But remember, it's what is it? It's about 9 months ago that I saw this side going to, and I was there in Munich when this side did brilliantly, and Bayern Munich scored in the last minute of the game, and I genuinely believe if that had gone into extra time, that Celtic would have beaten them. So that's So there are a number of ways to win football matches.
With big games coming up straight away, you've not got much time, but what do you think you need to do tactically to get Celtic back scoring goals? Because we've really struggled at that a lot this season.
Yeah, well, they have, really, and it's it's the number of chances you create during the course of a game is the most important thing, because you're not going to stick everything away, and that is it. We have to try and create. We can, and I mean, for instance, there was a moment in the game that Celtic could have gone 2-1 in front against Hearts. Good chance. A goalkeeper makes a great save in the game. So I think overall, from what I see, and Shaun may totally disagree with me, it's creating more chances for us. How we do that there is entirely up to us.
Martin, you said there you were in Munich for that fantastic performance back in February. A lot of the squad that played in that game are still at the club. Do you think Celtic can reach those levels again pretty quickly, either under yourself and Shaun, or the permanent boss whenever they are appointed?
Well, they have a couple of injuries at the moment to very, very key players. Every football club has key players. But the team are a good side. They're a good team. They're a good side. Might just have, not used to losing some football matches, so maybe a little bit of confidence has been lost from that. But the players are really, really decent players. And I'm genuinely looking forward to working with them. For how long that may be, I don't know. But yeah, and that would be your ambition, to try and get the football club back to that there again. And we will strive as hard as we can to do it. And that's I think that would be the message from both of us. But really, that's it. We have some really fine footballers at the football club, and players who have won. And that's nice. It's nice to go into a dressing room with players who have actually won. I'm not saying all of them have done that. There was a couple of young lads on the side, but the boys and they know how to win. So they just get that back again, and that would be the most important message for me.
Welcome back, Martin.
Oh, thank you, man. You weren't around when I was...
I know I was. I was outside those doors when you walked in 2000.
Were you?
Yep, I was.
No, I thought you wouldn't have been born.
Some of your greatest memories, and for fans back then, was the victories over Rangers. You've got the small matter, obviously, of the derby at the weekend. How excited are you both for that? And obviously, it's such a huge game in Glasgow. You know how important that is to fans. Are you confident that you can lift the spirits within the camp to get us up for that?
Well, if you had ever been in the room here at this time, you would have known my answer to that would have been, I cannot possibly think about that game. We've got a game tomorrow night, which is the most important thing for me, the most important thing. So after that there, I could have a conversation with it. But, as I said to you, if we don't get a result tomorrow night, you might be talking to somebody else on Saturday.
Martin, you've added Mark Fotheringham to your backroom team. Can we just get your thinking behind that?
Mark, I have no idea, to tell you the truth, why I've had it, Mark, because he's just a botheration, to tell you. I met him. He was that as a player. I'm only kidding. Yeah, only joking. You looked at me as if to say, "What are you talking about?" Fozzie. Can I call him Fozzie? I never liked these nicknames, but that's all I've ever known him as. Fozzie was, I thought, really good lad. Had super self-confidence about himself. If he did a tenth of the ability that his confidence suggested he had, he would have been messy. But great lad, like him. Really, I met him. About 6 or 7 weeks ago by chance. I was at a League Managers Association meeting and he was there. And it was really nice to meet him, I must admit. So I haven't had a chance to see him. I'm surprised I haven't heard him. But he'll be fine. Fozzie will be fine, He just needs just sorting out a little bit. He'll be absolutely fine. But what he's done when he was at Swansea was...
Fozzie... he's had a brilliant sort of coaching career, really. With Felix Magath out in Germany, did brilliant work at Hertha, and then he did really well with Swansea last year. So, completely different character to the rest of the coaches. So he.
Will you agree with me about him? By the way, just a little. I love him. I do love him. I love Fuzzy. Always have done.
Yeah, no, he's a different character. So he brings his own skill set, but he was a good lad. I think all the staff. It was like this morning is to pick the group up and not just the players. You need people like Fozzie around in that sort of energy. So look forward to working with him. Yeah.
And just for both of you, have you got any words for John Kennedy, who's also departed the club after many years of service?
Well, John was just a young kid coming into the team when I was at Celtic, and he played 2 games. Excuse me. He played Rangers and Barcelona, and then got that really bad injury when he was playing for Scotland. So his career was really cut short as a player. And I again, he's been part of Celtic now for quite some considerable time. So I wish him well. I haven't had a chance to speak to him, but So those sort of changes have taken place before I came in.
Hi Martin, you've mentioned that your role here as interim manager is very much a temporary thing. Once that finishes, whenever that may be, do you think you'll remain at the club in any sort of capacity?
That's never been discussed, and I'm quite sure no, I'll just go into the sunset and disappear again. You know, I think so. I wouldn't imagine that that's the case. And no, my job is here to try and I suppose if spirits are low, then part of my job is to do that, to lift it. And I think, in all honesty, I will get a lift from the team itself. But that's not been discussed, and I wouldn't imagine it. You know.
Shaun, you've mentioned it was a tough day at Lennoxtown this morning. Who are the leaders in the dressing room? Who are the guys that you need to get on board with just now to take things forward between the group, yourself and Martin?
We've got some experienced guys. Obviously, Casper's probably the most experienced. But in terms of the lads that have probably come through the club, you've got Callum, James, Kieran. Relied heavily on them this morning. Alistair Johnson's a really big part of the group. Unfortunately, Cameron, he had surgery yesterday, I think, or he would have been part of that. So there's enough experience, enough guys that have won, enough guys probably that have experienced days like today that, they were relied heavily on them this morning, and we'll rely heavily on them tomorrow night. These moments are really, really difficult. I think as well when you ask the question about John, I think that he is a big part of what goes on a daily basis. Extremely talented coach, very popular. He'll be missed. But it's the senior players that will be relied upon and demanded more. I think it's always the case, and it won't be any different tomorrow night. Yeah.
Just a last question for Martin. Martin, there's a line in your book, I think it's the very last line in your book, where you talk about football as a lifelong addiction for you that you've been unable to shake off. Is that what brings you here at this late stage in your career?
I think that's absolutely right. I think that would be it. Yes, it has been an addiction, and you can't shake it off. When I was putting that last line in it, I didn't think that this would materialise, and I interestingly, I know it's almost like 24 hours since I spoke to Dermot, but it is a bit surreal for me, really. At this minute, you can see, lights shining, and then I think, what have I done? And no, really excited by it, genuinely excited by it, and I would really looking forward to it immensely. But you're right, it is a bit of an addiction, but I'm not sure that I'm kind of semi enjoying doing a bit of punditry work, which is ridiculously easy when you can sit in a chair and criticise everybody else but yourself. And I think that I'm not so sure that I will come out for many other clubs.
Welcome back, Martin. Good to see you, Shaun. There's been a lot made in the last couple of days, especially over the last month or so, about the club's transfer policy and everything that goes around that. As part of the interim appointment of the two of yourselves, a little bit of player evaluation, as well as maybe assisting the club with any recruitment that is going on in the background since the summer window closed?
From my point of view, no. I think similar to Martin, I think the last 24 hours has been a bit of a whirlwind. It was literally after speaking with Martin about what he wanted from me, which was really, really easy to say yes to for what this man's done for me and my family. In terms of the other parts of the club, no. I think that's maybe for another day. Yeah.
Last question for me is obviously there's no time. It's tomorrow. Tomorrow we've got a match straight away. Shaun, you've been very, very close to the team and the club in recent months. Martin, maybe a bit further away.
Yeah.
The main thing we've been missing is creating chances and scoring goals. Can we expect tomorrow night to see any sort of tweak or change to approach from what we've seen in recent weeks, or will tomorrow just be a matter of steadying the ship first and foremost, do you think?
I think that's a very good point. I will obviously rely on this young man beside me here as much as anything else, who would know the players far better than myself. It's all right watching players from a distance and you making up your mind about something, and you find then that when you arrive at a football club, and I've done this before, I've got a totally different viewpoint from a player. And so I will be relying on this young man. But I think that the very natural things that you want to have possession, you want to be able to try and create chances. It's up to us to try and do that, and just try and enforce your, I suppose, your presence, your personality on the game itself, which will not be easy for us.
Hi Martin, Shaun, welcome back to Celtic. It was just a quick question. Will you have any involvement in the process of recommending the next manager to Dermot and the rest of the board?
For me?
Yeah. Would you have any input on
that? Years ago, I would have such a big ego that I would have said, yeah, you're going to recommend this. I would have no input at all. And is there anybody in this audience that is remotely close to my age? So, young man, you look about 12, which is nice to know, So that's a compliment, by the way, Oh, brilliant. But no, I wouldn't have. I wouldn't. It'd be an interesting one, I suppose. One of the questions you might think is that if there's going to be recruitment on in January time, which you'd imagine that something like that would take place, then who knows what would happen? But I assume that you'd want, if you're going to have a manager in maybe by that time, then that he himself, whoever that may be, would have an input into who would be coming to the football club, obviously on a permanent basis in terms of players.
Okay, no more. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks everyone. Thank you.
Thanks very much indeed. Thank you.